Hi y'all, this is Eva from the book blog astripedarmchair.wordpress.com, and I'm here to talk about my library loot. I have 27 books to talk about and not a lot of time, so let's get to it. First I'm going to talk about the fiction, which all of these were holds that came in for me. The Orange Tree by Carlos Fuentes. This is for the Colorful Reading Challenge. I read my first Fuentes last year, or Aura, and it was really good, so I've been wanting to read more by him. Meet Me Under the Ceiba by Silvio Sirias. I'm very excited about this. Mr. Sirias was gracious enough to write a guest post for my blog recently, and it was a beautiful guest post. So that really made me want to read his fiction sooner rather than later. It's also for the Reading the World Challenge, since Nicaragua is one of my stops. The Aguero Sisters by Cristina Garcia. I can't remember what this is for. I think it's just for fun. I've been wanting to try out some Garcia. House of Spirits by Isabel Allende. This is because I love Allende, so I want to eventually read all of her books. Goodbye Tsukumi by Banana Yoshimoto. Same reason. Love Yoshimoto. Want to read more of her. This is the whole reading deeply thing. Then there's The Ancient Child by M. Scott Momaday. And I read about this somewhere online, and it sounded really interesting. It's historical fiction. The Gift of Rain by Tan Tuan Eng. Michelle of Sushu recommended this as a good Malaysian author, and the library had quite a queue, so it took that long for it to arrive. But I'm really excited about it. The Hakawati by Rabi Alameddin. I love that cover, don't you? That's like my favorite color, and it's just so gorgeous. J.S. Payton wrote a really good review of this that had it on my radar for a long time. Dead Souls by Nikolai Gogol. I love the name Nikolai. It's like my favorite Russian name. The nickname is Kolya. Isn't that the cutest thing ever? If I ever have a son, I might try to name him Nikolai, or at least Nicholas, and then just call him Kolya. Anyway, Arthi reviewed Dead Souls, and she made me really want to read it, and my library had the translation by Richard Prevere and Larisa Velahonsky, so I decided to go for it. Finally, in fiction, The Samurai's Wife by Laura Jo Rowland. She writes a mystery series set in ancient Japan, and I'm always on the lookout for a new mystery series, and this was the earliest in the series that my library had. I think it's like the third or fourth. As for nonfiction, once I picked up all my holds, I decided to browse the nonfiction section of my library, and I found quite a few to come home with me, so that's why there's so much loot this week, but I'm excited about all of them. Carnet de Voyage by Craig Thompson. This is a graphic novel. Blankets has been really popular in the blogosphere, but this is a travelogue that he wrote, and Debbie talked about it, and I've been wanting to read it, so I put a hold on for that one. Kinky Gazpacho by Lori Tharps. I think it's Tharps. This is about her going to Spain and living there for a while. I'm always interested in women's travelogues, and I've never been to Spain. The Long Exile by Melanie McGrath. This caught my eye because the subtitle is A Tale of Inuit Betrayal and Survival in the High Arctic. And so I'm curious, and it's about like in the 1920s and then the 1950s and the Canadian government, so I'm curious to see what what happened there. American Nerd by Benjamin Nugent, I don't know how you pronounce Nugent, there's an N in there, isn't there? I saw this on the shelf and grabbed it because I've seen it talked about on a few book blogs, but I just saw a review of it today that made it sound like it might not be my style, so that's the good thing about the library, you just return it. A Season in Mecca by Abdullah Hamoudi. I saw this on the shelf and I grabbed it for the World Religion Challenge. It sounds really fascinating. Hamoudi he goes to Mecca on pilgrimage because he's Muslim, but he also looks at it from an anthropology point of view, and since, you know, I'm not allowed to visit Mecca, I thought it would be interesting. The Undressed Art, Why We Draw, by Peter Steinhardt. This is another one that called to me from the shelves. I'm going to count it for the Art History Challenge. I really wish that I could draw, but I have no natural artistic ability. So I might end up trying to teach myself, but in the meantime I'll just, read books and live vicariously. Travels of a T-shirt in the Global Economy by Pietro Rivoli. This is just for fun. I like reading international economics books. And this one's pretty pop, so should be good. Microcosm by Carl Zimmer. This called to me from the shelves because it just sounded so interesting, E. coli and the new science of life. And then, coincidentally, Anna just did a review of a different Zimmer book, and it was a gushing review, so I started reading this last night, and it's so good so far. I think I have a new favorite science author. In Search of King Solomon's Mines by Tahir Shah. This is for the Reading the World Challenge. It's my nonfiction for Ethiopia. As you can see, I'm almost done with it. I'm not that impressed. It's about Shah's adventures in Ethiopia trying to find gold. And you'll find out in a review why I'm not impressed. In Search of Time by Dan Falk. This is another one that called to me from the shelves. It's about physics and how the time dimension is perceived there. So, Cold by Bill Streever. When I saw this on the shelves, I knew I had to grab it because at least 2 or 3 book bloggers have reviewed it, and they've all been very positive. And it seemed fun to read it in winter. And do you see the little polar bear? He's kind of covered up by the sticker on my library, but isn't he cute? I love this color too. It's kind of the paler version of the teal color. The Practical Nomad, How to Travel the World by Edward Hasbrook. I've heard good things about this. My life goal is to, one of my major life goals is to go on a round-the-world trip that lasts like 18 to 24 months. So I enjoy reading about stuff that'll help me on that. The Old Way, The First People by Elizabeth Marshall Thomas. I'm skeptical of this one, but I'm hoping that I end up enjoying it. Thomas moved to, I think, Kenya? No, must have been Southern Africa, because she's among the Kalahari San. In 1950, when she was a girl, I think? No, or maybe she, I think she actually came as an anthropologist, so this is looking at the Bushmen, basically. I'm hoping it won't be too culturally inappropriate. The Music Room, a memoir by Namita Devidale. I love music. I played the violin and the clarinet, and I sang in choir. I did all sorts of musical stuff in school. And so this really caught my eye on the shelves. And then I'm always curious about India. And apparently this is a bestseller there. We're almost done. Hopefully I'm within 10 minutes. Pilgrim on the Great Bird Continent by Leanda Lynn Haupt. This is another one I grabbed from the science section of the library. Sorry, I'm a little tired. And this grabbed my eye because I knew that I was getting the next book that I'll talk about, and so I was curious about Darwin. So, finally it arrived, Charles Darwin's On the Origin of Species, a graphic adaptation. I was very excited about this. I've already read it, so I should have a review up soon. And last but not least, Footnotes in Gaza by Joe Sacco, another nonfiction graphic novel. I'm very interested by how the graphic medium adapts to nonfiction instead of fiction, so I usually really enjoy them. And not a lot of people go to Gaza. So, there you have it. That's my library loot. I tried to talk as fast as I could. Sorry if the lighting's kind of weird in here. Just as I was about to start recording, the power went out. It happens on base a lot. So we've got all natural light, and it started snowing, so hopefully y'all could see everything. And I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you share your own library loot, and I'll see you next week. Bye!